This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel Abraham, joined by Damon McDonald. It's New Japan Cup. It's tomorrow, Damon. Slightly apprehensive because the last time we previewed a New Japan Cup and did our pick'ems, it didn't go so well afterwards, did it?
No, it didn't, did it? Yeah, it's right around this time. We were, the shit hit the fan, as the kids say. So, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll get through this one unscathed, right? Yeah, I can't believe it's tomorrow. We just hit record, and I was like, oh my god, this is first show's tomorrow. So New Japan's not losing any momentum coming off those fantastic Castle Attack shows, Charles. we're jumping right on in to New Japan Cup.
Yes, we have a jam-packed show today. We got Strong, we got Castle Attack, we got New Japan Cup pick'ems to do. So, should we get straight onto it, Damon? Let's talk about Strong because it was one of the more newsworthy episodes of Strong. We started off with an 8-man tag team match with Logan Regal, Sterling Regal, ACH, and Brody King defeating DKC, Kevin Knight, Clark Connors, and TJP. I thought this one was notable, actually. The one moment that stood out in my mind was Kevin Knight, the new young lion, really taking a fight to Brody King, which is something that left an impression on me. I'm very high on Kevin Knight and excited to see his development. Clark Connors as well, apparently not a young lion anymore, so I'll be interested to see if he changes up anything in his either his gear, his presentation, or his moveset. But
I hope it's a haircut.
No, you're not a fan of the hair?
No, it's too full. It look too full. I don't like it at all. I want to change there. Start there with the hair. I don't like the hair.
And our second match was Ren Narita defeating Chris Dickinson in 7 minutes 51 seconds with the Narita Special number 3, which I thought was a really good match, sort of traditional old school grappling match, hold, counter hold, submissions. And that was a huge win for Ren Narita. I wasn't expecting that, honestly. And he's looking like a real credible threat right now. He's looking stronger, he's looking more aggressive. I enjoyed the post-match little interview with Shibata where Shibata just came in and slapped him a few times. This is a chop, smack. Not really sure why, I'm not sure if Ren had done something wrong, but it was entertaining as hell anyway. And again, I think Ren Narita also not a young lion, unless I'm mistaken there. So a lot of people think, they like the presentation of having these guys in the black trunks as sort of a homage to the New Japan wrestlers of yesteryear and Shibata himself. But again, Ren Narita, maybe one to keep your eye on for the next set of tapings. Do you think he should be changing things up at all? But either way, it seems like the company's got big plans for him because he's got a couple of big wins under his belt here.
That was a shocking one. Now, if you told me it was a slip on a banana peel type of win, roll up, okay. But, yeah, to have him have Chris Dickinson tap was, I did not expect it. And I will say this, a lot of times when that happens, it helps to have an announcing crew help get that over, pardon the pun, strong, and I think they did that as well. So I thought the entire segment was really good. I don't know the full, I don't want to say chain of events or I guess I don't know how it works out there at Strong in the sense of what they bring, like what's the criteria of people staying and people going, and is it a per show basis or a per taping basis, or who knows, right? I can't answer. I don't know the answer to that question, but it does put a little bit of a question mark to me. Is Chris sticking around? Is he going to make those next tapings? Is he going to make future tapings? It felt like it was a clean as a whistle tap. Like there was no controversy. It was clean as a whistle. We've seen that happen before, mind you, but it was just odd the way that it felt like they brought him in and then to have him lose in the fashion that he did. I don't know if that signifies future events for Chris.
And of course, the match that everyone had their eye on, the main event here, was the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship match, with Jon Moxley successfully defending against the challenger Kenta in 40 minutes 25 seconds with Death Rider. I thought this was a great match, Damon. I think they hit the perfect formula for the empty arena. It was intense, it was fast, it was loud, and I think the announcers really helped with that as well. There was no dead time, no rest holds, a relentless pace punctuated by some really nasty spots. Had a bit of everything, striking exchange, some good submission scrambles, some plunder spots, and I thought suitably vicious for what felt like a long-term grudge match that had been built up really well. And I particularly like the finish of a defiant Kenta going out on his sword and saying fuck you to Jon Moxley, even though he knew he was about to lose. So Kenta ate that pin clean, but he still looks like a badass. I don't think the defeat hurt him at all. And I know some people were surprised by this, but I think it's the right decision. There's plenty of interesting directions for Jon Moxley to go in, continuing to be the US champion. Personally, I had no desire to see the US title rush back to Japan. There's no need for it right now. Kenta doesn't need that title, and neither does the domestic product. So what were your thoughts on the match, David?
Like the match. I didn't think it was the greatest match I've ever seen in my life, but I think you nailed it in the sense that they made the most of the limiting circumstances that they had inside the empty warehouse. I was hyped for it. I know I talked last week about anticipation and things feeling important. It felt important. Like it was one of those things where I carved out time to make sure that I caught it, as it was going on. And that's not. There's not a lot of times where I can honestly say that I've been doing that. So yes, the hype surrounding it helped me get juiced up over this. I thought the match was good. Again, making the most out of a difficult situation. I thought they did. I was surprised by the finish. To me, this was all about getting the title off of John. And unless things changed, we would be right back where we started from, in the sense of, okay, now what? He still has the title. Now what are we going to do? Look, I think everyone across the board, every sport, every entertainment facet of life is very excited to get things rolling again. Opening everything up. Opening it up. And again, we could sit here and debate whether that's wise or not, given the current situation that the United States is in, with vaccines and letting fans back into sporting events on a limited basis. That's what everybody's hanging their hat on. And the idea of that makes the idea of Jon Moxley holding that title a little bit more interesting, right? I think we have more possibilities. Our minds can wander a little bit with a little bit more excitement, possibly, with the idea.
Do you mind if I jump in with a question here, David,
can.
on those lines? Bash says, with Mox retaining, what happens to the US belt? Does it become a special title defense every couple of months on Strong? Does it get defended on AEW pay-per-views? And Storm says, who should defeat Mox in the US Championship? So what do you think the future holds for the red belt?
That's what it sounds like it's going to be, or what it feels like it's going to be. I don't think anybody knows definitively, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's become, okay, the possibilities with everything that's happened in the past couple of months makes it seem like that U.S. title is going to be on TV a little bit more often, and maybe defended a little bit more often, and possibly defended in Japan more often. So yes, it does feel like we're slowly crawling out of our shell and able to kind of have this thing be a real thing again, as opposed to something that we had to push under the covers for a while because a guy couldn't defend it on television. Again, it feels like everything involved is softening. Now, Joel, the reason why things were softening, and as I explained before, is because companies are looking at their balance sheets and they're not seeing a lot of profit coming in. So when that happens, weird things in pro wrestling can occur because they're all looking at each other like, well, nobody's making any money, and well, what are we going to do? And this is going to pop the crowds, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, get people excited. Does that end? Does that stop? That creativity stop as things open up? That's my only concern, is that people do things that they would not normally do when the money dries up. If the money starts coming in again, would we continue this road, this open door policy, as they like to say? That I don't know. But again, specifically for the U.S. title, I was surprised that Moxley won it. I'm actually surprised that we weren't clued in. I'm surprised nobody told us. It was taped. How did we not know this? But I am kind of surprised with the result because, again, the whole concept of this was get the title off Moxley so we don't have to deal with this anymore and we have our title back.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, and I'm viewing this as a trial run, dipping your toes in the water. If it all goes well and we start to see some successful collaboration with Jon Moxley working these two companies stateside, then if it's making money and everyone's dealing professionally and holding their end of the bargains, then I don't see why you wouldn't continue to do that. So I think this is a way for this partnership to get its foot in the door, so to speak. You know, we know AEW are very keen on it. Maybe New Japan were colder on it prior to how everything's gone down, but now there's the opportunity there for something to happen, and we'll see how it goes. I think if this is a success and it makes money for both companies, it would be foolish to cut that off at the pass because there's certainly more money on the table.
Yeah, there is. And if you're going to give any one of your titles to any North American wrestler right now, I mean, Jon Moxley's a pretty good guy to put it on, right? And
right. I mean, this is a guy who just won the Wrestling Observer newsletter Wrestler of the Year. I wouldn't be in any rush to take the belt off him. I mean, if the booking decision were up to me, I would definitely have him keep holding that US title, especially if it can now be acknowledged and continue to be acknowledged on Dynamite. Then it seems like a no-brainer.
That's the key, right? That's the key from a New Japan perspective. You've got one of your titles on arguably one of the biggest stars in North America on TV every week. You know, it's a significant thing. And if that title is mentioned and if it's brought up and, you know, there's still that synergy there, yes, that it is a positive for New Japan Pro Wrestling. If that doesn't happen and we're back to square one, I gotta be honest with you, I'm kind of left scratching my head thinking, okay, we had our chance here. Why do we do this? So I'm assuming, again, with everything that we talked about, that's going to be the case, Joel. That we'll see that title front and maybe not front and center, but it'll be there on that TV show. So that can only help. That can only help.
Okay, let's have a look and see what we have lined up for New Japan Strong this week. So on Friday, we have Road to Strong Style involved, and we're starting off with a tag match with Alex Coughlin and Carl Fredericks, who are both making their return against Kevin Knight and Clark Connors. So again, I'm very excited to see the pair of those, Alex and Carl, coming back. Second match, we have New Japan Cup qualifying matches. So this is not the New Japan Cup USA proper. We have qualifying matches. I don't know what the field is. I think it's going to be a field of 8 again. So we've got qualifying matches for that, where we have the DKC against Tom Lawler. I wouldn't expect Tom Lawler to go through, given that the DKC is a young lion, and Tom Lawler, I think, is an established name who you want to be going far in this tournament. I think New Japan should be continuing to use Tom Lawler. And then third match is another qualifying match for the Cup, Rocky Romero against Leo Rush. And again, I would have Leo Rush win this. I think having a few of those outsiders in the tournament field and raising some question marks over, are they going to be staying with New Japan? Are they even going to be flying over at some point to appear? I would love to see Lio Rush in the best of the Super Juniors. I think he would give the junior division a shot in the arm after they've lost quite a few stars over the last year or so. So again, I'm expecting a really good match here between Rocky and Lio Rush. I'm expecting Lio Rush to win. But the big question mark here, after that match finishes, are we expecting Mighty Skull to appear and to do this angle with Rocky Romero? Because I think if it's going to happen, this is where it would happen. Right. And I'm hoping that they see, the cooler heads prevail here and they realise that it is a mistake, and then they cut that, and we just end. Lio Rush gets pinned. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there we go. Strong's finished. See you next week. A little nice abrupt ending there. They've chopped the footage of Mighty Skull off, and never sees the light of day. But I wouldn't put the gun to my head. I'm not 100% certain on that, Damon. So, your thoughts on Strong, those two qualifying matches, and whether or not we see Mighty Skull appearing?
I think it's a slam dunk logistics aside, that Lio Rush is in best of the Super Juniors, right? I think that they would miss a huge opportunity. Again, logistics aside, if they can get him into the country, if he can quarantine, that's not going to take too much trouble for him to do. I think it's a given he'll be there. They gotta do the right thing, and I said it previous shows. They have to do the right thing, and they have to step up. We've heard lots of scuttlebutt about how New Japan wants to do the right thing, and while we haven't heard that, yes, they are cutting the segment from the show. Let's just say that's a consideration, right? I think that's fair to say, right, Joel?
Yes, I think that people in the company would have seen the backlash to this, and I know there was also a lot of backlash to Will Ospreay, and they're continuing to use him, but it's not a direct comparison here, because Will Ospreay is someone who's been the company have invested a lot, rightly or wrongly, whether or not you agree that they continue to use Will Ospreay, they've invested a lot with him, and they see him as a big part of their future, their main event future. But Marty Scurll is someone who, relatively speaking, is disposable. They could chop him off there and not really sacrifice too much. So again, I'm not making a moral judgment on that. I'm just saying that there is a better chance of the company listening and making a decision based on that. Correct.
And as much as we all hate pre-taped pro wrestling, here's one benefit of that, to say the least. So, if we hear anything, I'm sure we'll. I don't know how we would do it, but we don't do Twitter anymore, so hopefully by the end of the show we'll hear word. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But from conversations, it doesn't feel like it. Look, they know the waves that caused, and the backlash that caused, and I think that it may have opened some eyeballs. Let's put it that way. So I hope they do the right thing, because it'd be a nice, pleasant change, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? It would.
Question from Tom, who says, who do you think will win the New Japan Cup USA? So is there anyone at the moment who, off the top of your heads, you think will be a good candidate to win? I suppose the question is, what does the winner win? Does the winner win another briefcase? Is it going to be a championship match for the IWGP US title? In which case, that's something to think about, isn't it? Is that a match that's going to take place on Strong? Is it going to be on Dynamite? Is there going to be some sort of cross promotion there? Is it going to be? I suspect it would be a full-time member of the New Japan roster who is committed to the company. Maybe under contract. I don't know, just off the top of my head, a Juice Robinson or someone like that. Even though that wouldn't necessarily be the most exciting choice. But your thoughts, Damon? Who do you think could win this tournament? We don't have the field yet, so we're flying blind here. But your inklings.
Yeah, you would think a guy like Juice or David Finlay, who are in the States and under contract, would be a smart choice, right? If we're going outside the box, would you see a Tom Lawler, or would you see a Fred Rosser, or would you see? I mean, what about a young lion, or a former young lion, should I say?
Yeah, maybe this is when you strap that rocket to Carl Fredericks,
right? Or you could strap a rocket to Ren, who's getting tap out wins. I mean, again, a little bit outside the box, but unless of course, they're bringing somebody in from Japan to sit it strong for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, to me, I feel like you have to make that new guy at this point. So yeah, I mean, aside from Juice, aside from David Finlay, those are your top guys. I would feel like in strong that could possibly do this, right?
I would have thought so too. Yeah, I mean, maybe a Jeff Cobb. I'm not sure if the timings line up. Well, I'm not sure if they've taped this already or how that all stacks up. But if he was around, he would be someone. But I mean, he's in the actual New Japan Cup. So again, I don't know if could it be someone who is in the New Japan Cup in Japan as well, because obviously Juice and Finlay and Jeff Cobb are in the New Japan Cup proper. So I don't know, maybe the field is going to be people who are not in the New Japan Cup in Japan. But it's all getting very confusing.
We need we need one of those California wrestling school trainees to slide into our DMs is what we need. Yeah, that's what we need. Come on, listen. You hit up Joel. You give us the scoop. We're good. We're good with our sources. We're not gonna dime you out. But you get in our DMs. Is that how you say it, Joel?
Yeah, slide into the DMs.
Slide. Ew. Yeah, do that. And yeah. All right. That's my offer. Do that.
Well, speaking of Juice Robinson, we have Finn Juice versus the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, for the Impact Tag Titles lined up for Sacrifice on March 13th. I mean, obviously this is going to be taped because Juice and Finlay are back in Japan, ready to enter the New Japan Cup proper. So, your thoughts on this match? Do you think this is going to be opening avenues for future cooperation between New Japan and Impact?
Sure. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your excitement for the Impact partnership, Joel? What? Give me your thoughts of how excited you would be for a continued relationship with Impact.
I'm unlikely to watch it. I don't care for it personally.
Yeah, not the biggest Impact guy. Now, again, this is a very similar situation as what I said regarding Strong. If people can get work and opportunities and get on American television, okay, fine. I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold off probably and let other people be the sacrificial lambs and let them watch. And if it's good, absolutely I will tune in. But I will reserve time for other events during that time, unless, again, I hear it is a good match.
All right, let's dig into Castle Attack then. I will approach this in descending order from what I thought the most important matches are. So let's start, Sunday, February 28th, Osaka Joe Hall, we had our main event, which was for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship only, where Kota Ibushi successfully defended against Tetsuya Naito 27 minutes 50 seconds with a Kamigoye. I thought this was fantastic, Damon. I love this match. I just watching it and seeing how it opened up. There was some really gripping early mat work, and usually the early stuff in these main events is not very interesting to me, but I thought this one was very compelling. They both put a lot into it. Naito working Ibushi's leg, and Naito was selling that really well with his facial expressions, like this sort of demented look on his face, like he was really enjoying taking Ibushi's leg apart. And Ibushi did a good job selling the knee for the first half, but then I was sort of, whenever that happens, I start thinking, they're going to blow this off. But as they sort of transition into Neck Bump City, I stopped caring because it was so spectacular. Some of the moves they were pulling out on each other, like the Avalanche Esperanza, the Swan Dive German, that Lariat, that normally Lariat of normal wrestler with a normal brain would take a nice flat back bump on that, but no, Tetsuya Naito decides to bump for a Lariat where he looks like he sort of compressed his head into his shoulders. I thought this was outstanding. The pacing, the execution was perfect. Every one of those spots landed pitch perfect. Just looked absolutely devastating in his violence. And maybe their best match. I thought it was that good. And if this is going to be the last ever Intercontinental title match, I thought they did well to send it out in a blaze of glory with arguably its best feud. I mean, there surely can't be too many other Intercontinental title feuds that are better from an in-ring standpoint than Naito versus Ibushi. So although the build to it and the storyline was confusing and cold, in my opinion, the match delivered in spades. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, I think those two guys did everything in their power to save this from being a complete hand wave when it comes to remembering this type of stuff at the end of the year. They have wonderful chemistry together. They've worked enough times together in the past 2 or 3 years that you would think they should. But yeah, it felt different. It felt fresh, and I don't think that had much to do with the build. That's for sure. I think it had all to do with the two guys that were in the ring that are absolute pros to help save this and to make it feel interesting and give it that energy and made people give a fuck. Like, people gave a fuck the minute the bell rang, because all the dumb bullshit that we've had to put up with this feud aside and the lack of build was all put aside once the bell rang and these two guys went. And at the core of it, that's what everybody wants. And everybody got. And it's like, I don't know, even with the post match and the excitement of what's to come with the anniversary shows, everything in that ring, again, from I'll even go before that, the opening chords of entrance music to the final promo, everything fucking delivered in that moment. And I left that feeling this why can't we do this? Why is this what we have here in that time frame so difficult? Because even after all that was done, Joel, we had more mind exploding, head exploding nonsense that we have to deal with after all of this is done. But for that moment, that 30-minute stretch, I gotta be honest, I'm thinking to myself, why is this so difficult? Why can't this be it? And I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah, it was definitely... I mean, if we take a step back and look at Castle Attack as a whole with both nights, night one was boring. Night one, I didn't enjoy that at all.
No.
After finishing night one, I was really depressed. But then after night two, I was like, wow, it was great. New Japan's back. So I'm just sort of left in this quandary. My understanding of it is that I think New Japan are still putting on great shows and great matches of the at the same volume they were before, but because they are running a lot of extra shows and putting on a lot of extra content to make up for lost revenue over the COVID periods and the half arenas, that extra content they're putting out is missing the mark for me, and it's kind of leaving a bad taste that if it had just been Castle Attack Night 2, we'd be like, wow, brilliant, Castle Attack, excellent. But having had to sit through Night 1 as well, then you're kind of like, not sure about this. So it's not, I don't think the quality of New Japan as a whole has gone down. It's just they've thrown a lot of it. Like my analogy for it was like, you got this wonderful sushi set meal like omakase prepared by a brilliant chef, and then you're throwing a few McDonald's Happy Meals on top of it just to pad it out. So you know there's extra food there. So it's difficult to reconcile the two aspects of the product, where you got Night 1, which is just full of interference and ref bumps and Bullet Club bullshit, and then Night 2, which I thought top to bottom was an outstanding show. And again, it makes you think, could we just have more of the latter than the former? And I don't know, I guess, is this something... I can't make sense of it, Damon. I don't have a feel for it anymore.
I don't either. And it's like, you know, if we're throwing around analogies, you know, I'm kind of like, Night 1 is, you know, it's like dad goes out and has too many drinks and is ranting and raving in the house. And Night 2, he's, you know, good old wholesome dad. You know, you don't know what you're going to get from night to night. And that's just odd to me, because it's not like it's a hockey game or it's a basketball game or a football game match. You control that. You control that narrative. And it's like two different people are booking these two different shows. I got to be honest with you, that's the only explanation I can give you.
Because since the start of the year, we've had 4 brilliant shows, like Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 and Night 2, home run. I thought New Beginning in Nagoya, home run. Castle Attack Night 2, home run. But then the 2 Hiroshima New Beginning shows and Castle Attack Night 1 were kind of crap. So on a normal year, I mean, it's just the pacing has been thrown off because we haven't had Fantastic and Mania. On a normal year, at this point in the calendar, we would have had Wrestle Kingdom and New Beginning, and that's it. So we've thrown in this extra Castle Attack. So if you'd said, okay, by end of February, you're going to have 4 outstanding shows, I'd say, that's pretty good going. But because I've had to sit through all the other shit and these endless Koraku and Road 2 things, maybe I just need to be more selective about what I watch, because I think pretty much these shows delivered what they set out to do on paper. I mean, we looked at Night 1 on paper and thought, we're not convinced this is going to be great, and it wasn't. We thought Night 2 looked great, and it was. So, I don't know, maybe this is the sort of thing where I don't want to say don't watch stuff, but when the quality is so wildly inconsistent from one night to another, it does make you wonder.
But that's not the wrestlers. That's not the people that's not the talent in the ring. That's booking, which can change. You know what I mean? Like, you mean to tell, again, if we're going with an overview, because I don't want to go all over the place, but it feels like that's where we are now. You look at that Night 1 with just the constant Jado bullshit and the kendo sticks and the
the Jado and Gedo and Dick Togo.
Right.
It's like exactly the same formula. And again, I don't mind that once in a while. Do it once per show. I'm okay with that. Don't love it, but I'm not going to get up in arms about it. But it just seemed to be constant throughout Night 1 and just oversaturating it. And again, I was not someone who was up in arms about it before. Dick Togo interfering in evil matches. Like, yeah, fine, that's okay. But then when it's happening in the Jay White matches as well, to a lesser extent, admittedly, but again, he doesn't need that anymore. And then it's happening in the God matches as well. Then it's too much.
Right. Like okay. Example. You got Yoshihashi, Tongaloa, right? So everyone's sitting there saying, okay, let's see what Tongaloa's got, because we're all kind of excited that, and Yoshihashi singles match put in a big spot. Right? it doesn't
All right,
happen.
maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves.
No,
I do want to talk about those matches
Okay.
at some point. Shall we?
Yeah.
We'll keep our powder dry for that. And,
Okay.
And,
Yeah, but my point being
take
is
control of the ship. Go ahead.
right,
Go ahead.
right. But my point being is this: it's you again, and this is not me saying that we know this for certain. But to me, doesn't it feel like it's two different people booking these shows?
Yeah, I can't disagree because they seem so wildly inconsistent that it does feel like watching two different products.
Sorry, yeah.
Well, okay, let's go to the semi-main event on night 2, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship 3-way match, where El Desperado defeated Bushi and El Fantasma in 23 minutes 12 seconds with a pinche loco to become the 89th IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. And I normally dislike 3-way matches, and this definitely featured a lot of the tropes that I'm not keen on, like one guy being taken out of the match for an extended period. But got to give all three guys credit. They made it work. This was way better than it had any right to be. I thought the demasking of Despy halfway through the match was a fitting and dramatic way to take Despy out, and his return was very satisfying. Bushi played his role well, as he was like the last hurdle between ELP and the title. He made some really exciting and timely interventions, like the bit where he grabbed the referee's arm and stopped him making the 3 count, or rolling out of the ring after eating the loaded boot. And again, I've got to give El Fantasma credit here for 3 very good matches in a row. So the junior tag title match, his match with Leo Rush on Strong, and this match where I feel that he's dialed back on the really goofy stuff and is wrestling more like a serious junior heavyweight, but also staying true to his dickhead persona. You know, you don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater there. And credit to him, he has got that loaded boot gimmick over so much that when he was just kicking El Desperado, you know, standard kicks, the crowd are gasping there. Like, you know, because they bought this loaded boot thing to the extent where they were worried that El Desperado was getting, you know, seriously hurt out there. And I thought Despy, you know, we've throw all the flowers at this guy, Damon. He was superb. He was the heart and soul of this match. I loved him hitting 2 pinche locos as a real exclamation point to show that this isn't a fluke win. He is the top guy in the division right now. And yeah, what did you think of the match, Damon?
I loved it. I did. I thought it was really good. I had people texting me, and maybe this was their wake-up call, and maybe this was the thing that they needed to shake some cobwebs loose on El Desperado, as if, you know, the previous, you know, our goddamn match of the year couldn't do that. Apparently this did, and it was a nice, I don't even want to say a coming out moment for Despy, but it was another star-making performance. Like, it felt like he was the guy. It felt like he is the top of the mountain. I loved it. I can't tell you how impressed I am with him, Desperado. Like he's, look, New Japan, we say it a trillion times. They know how to light the fire and make people seem and feel important. As much as we bitched and moan about the lead up to Naito and Ibushi, trust me, they know how to do that. And they did it here. Once again. I'm fascinated by him holding on to that title. I hope it's a long time. And again, I know that we talked about Hiromu coming back. We got a built-in feud, and I'm all for it. But man, I might be more excited to see what the 6-8 months, whatever it is, of him holding a title and the programs and the matches that he'll have. Like, I don't know. To me, that feels really fresh, really fun. A guy who feels important now. Not that he didn't before, but you got people on the fringes kind of looking in, noticing how important he is. I don't know. This one feels really good.
Yeah, we had a comment on Twitter from Smark Infested Waters, and I look forward to the hour-long El Desperado appreciation segment. So she's obviously seen our show notes there. And yeah, I totally agree with you, Damon. Despe's a guy that I think has always been one of the best in the division, but I think he's found himself behind world-class talent like Kushida or Hiromu, Ryu Lee, Shingo, Ospreay. But he's been quietly plugging away, putting in high-level performances in singles and tag matches, carrying the junior tag division and establishing himself as the MVP of that team. And I think his ascent may have come sooner had he not missed Best of Super Juniors 2019 when he got that jaw injury. But last year, you started to see how New Japan were leaning on this guy and realising what a talent he is and how versatile he is. They were putting him into never title feuds with Shingo. He's in junior tag title division. He's champion there. He's doing most of the heavy lifting with the KOPW nonsense when he was feuding with Kojima. He had an excellent Best of the Super Juniors. Then he's back to the junior tag title work at the Dome. Then a three-way match here. So his flexibility and diversity, that ability to plug him into anything and make it great, is tremendously valuable and underappreciated. His promos are some of the best in the company. The way he's able to emote behind the mask is incredible with his body language and the tone of his voice. The fans love him. He seems to shift a ton of merchandise. He's got his own support sections in the crowds. And yeah, like you said, after last year's Best of the Super Junior final, he's proved he's more than capable of delivering in big main events. And he's done it again here in the semi-main. He's the complete package for me. He can do everything. Like, tell me one thing that he can't do. Tell me one weakness for El Desperado. You can't. He hasn't got any. He's amazing.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm on. Stop yelling at me. Yeah, I'm with you. He, and here's the thing that he did. You mentioned all that, and when you say it out loud, you're like, damn, okay. Bullet point. Okay, yeah. But he did that very subtly. You know what I mean? Like, he did that very subtly because, again, you were right. He had look. If El Desperado were born in a different time, he would be a megastar. You know what I mean? Like, he would be a megastar if he was born in a different time. But he's in New Japan Pro Wrestling. With all those names that you mentioned, not even mentioning Shingo, for crying out loud. Ibushi, for a time period with the juniors. I mean, this whole run here. Like, he's in with the arguably some of the best pro wrestlers, juniors specific, of all time. I mean, just
yeah, Kenny Omega as well, who was a junior for the first chunk of his career.
Yeah. Like, and he had to be patient. And you're right. He was the glue that held that fucking junior tag team division together for, what, a year and a half, 2 years, at least, right? And then, he's got his Noah stuff. Look, he's found time to... Like, there was not a rocket ship that was placed on El Desperado. Like, to me, what makes this even sweeter is that he did wait, he was patient, and he grew naturally. This wasn't a strap a rocket ship to him and away we go. This was a guy who chipped and chipped and chipped and chipped away. Couple people notice. Oh, more eyeballs notice. Oh, more eyeballs notice. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Like, he feels like the most organic star, almost in that roster, really. Just because, again, all the talent that is on that roster, he had to find a way to wiggle his way in. That's to me, El Desperado is a fucking captivating story about how a guy had to wait. I tell you what, again, injuries suck, Joel. Injuries stink. When New Japan wrestlers leave and go on elsewhere for presumably bigger money and bigger contracts. That sucks. But at the end of the day, it does move the plates so that people who are squeezed in the middle can kind of wiggle out and fucking grow. And he is living proof of that. God bless El Desperado.
Amen. Hear, hear. More questions. Sentient Amanita says, does Despy bring out the best in El Phantasmo, or is this just more evidence that ELP is generally better in matches with more people where he can't do as much of his shtickier contrived stuff? I think there is something to that. I know El Phantasmo is perfectly capable of working a very high quality singles match. We've seen it before. He's done it with Will Ospreay. He's done it with Rocky Romero. And I think he's done it with Leo Rush as well. I think he just needs to rein himself in sometimes. And yeah, there is something to it about if it's a three-way match or a tag match. He's, I think, more interesting to watch them. But I think he still has a lot of upside as a singles wrestler. Yeah, Damon, El Phantasmo?
Yeah. I don't think anybody's listening to this show thinking that he stinks. It's you know, it's the stuff that we talk about a lot, the reining in the nonsense. There's a time for the nonsense. There's a time for the not. And here's what I really appreciate about him. It feels to me that he knows really when. Like, he might push the envelope a little bit, you know, and dial it up to a 7 when we really need a 5. And he might push the envelope to an 8 when we really need a 6 of goofiness. But when we need, you know, it dialed down seriously, like we need a 9, 10, he dials it down. He knows when to push the button. He's good. I think he's good. And yeah, maybe to do 3-ways help that. I don't know. I haven't seen him in you know, a lot of 3-ways to be able to tell you yes or no. But I think he has a firm handle on when to push the goofy button.
Juice9100 says, your personal feelings on El Desperado, how long do you think he should hold the junior title? Should he hold it until Hiromu gets back, or should someone else win it in between? Personally, I would like Show to win it by Dominion. Yeah, I think you discussed that already, Damon. I want to see him hold that, but I know it's a long time between here and whenever Hiromu comes back, but I think that is the money program for Wrestle Kingdom. I think that could easily co-main event a Tokyo Dome, so that's what I want to see long term, and I'd like to see El Desperado get a long reign with the belt, much like you do. So let's move on then to the fourth match, which was the Never Openweight Championship match, with the champion Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating the challenger Great-O-Khan in 80 minutes 44 seconds with a rolling armbar. I thought this was better than the Wrestle Kingdom match, and Wrestle Kingdom match that I thought was really good. And it felt like this one had escalated in stakes, in violence. I think O-Khan is getting better each time he goes out there. He's adding new moves that look nasty and fit the gimmick of this wild man who's going to stretch you and beat you down and throw you around and bully you and brutalise you, like that awesome looking reverse stretch spinning slam move that he did near the end. I think his selling and his bumping are consistently good. He always makes his opponents look good. And I thought he added something in this match that had been missing up to this point in the form of an exciting closing stretch that showed a clear escalation in gear, which is the icing on the cake for me. And the thought, it did actually pop into my head of whether he is currently doing a superior version of what Evil's trying to do, both in ring and on the mic. But
yes,
yeah, you with me on that?
I'm totally with you on that.
Let's stick a pin in that for now. I'll hand you the baton in a minute, but I just want to talk about the finish here, because I did expect O-Khan to win the match. So I do have questions about O-Khan's booking, because I think he needs to win one of these big matches soon. Dare I say tomorrow? But the Tanahashi pin, I think, came in a way that still made O-Khan look strong. Like in that closing stretch when he no-sold a couple of sling blades and he fired back with that huge lariat. Eventually got overzealous, was caught out by the canny veteran. So I don't think the loss really hurts him here, but he needs to pick up something soon. And there was that little side story with Yota Tsuji, which was nice, a little bit corny. And that unnecessary ref bump. But overall, I thought this was O-Khan's best match in the company by far. So over to you, Damon. What do you think of it?
Yep, agree 100%. Again, first, let's throw some flowers at Hiroshi Tanahashi, who once again is miraculous in the fact that his body can hold up. Just the smartest. Everything like he does means something to him in a match. And I love the fact that he's working a program with Okan, who, again, every time you see him get in the ring, leaps and bounds improvement. And when you're working with the best wrestler of the past decade or so, and even more, you're going to pick up some things or two, even by mistake. Two, we talked about Okan getting more comfortable in his gimmick and his presentation and what his character is. I think his entrance is one of the greatest entrances in pro wrestling. And it could very easily slide into complete over-the-top goofiness, right? But his dance, emulate, The Walking Dead, whatever, it works. It fucking works.
Yeah, it's because he's got complete 100% conviction in that character. If he didn't, went in there with any kind of doubt, then the whole thing would fall apart and it would look ridiculous. But it's because he eats and sleeps and lives and breathes that gimmick. He is the great Okan. That's why it works.
Correct. 100%. And that will only get better, right? That will only get better as that confidence grows. In ring, again, he looks like a star. He looks and feels like a star. The work will all come together even more the more that he gets these type of opportunities and learning opportunities in big spots. You're right. He does need a win. I was surprised that he lost. I thought this was a slam dunk win. Our prediction stunk, by the way. Come to think of it. And you're right. I don't want him to be eating too many more pinfalls. Again, Tanahashi understood. Fine. We need to pick up some wins here. I don't want him to be turning into mid-card jobber Okan. That when you said he is what Evil should have been, you read my mind because that's exactly what I was thinking during this match. Like, to me, yeah. It's Evil. I'm going to try to put my thoughts into words. It's Evil better. It's and people are going to say, well, it's a completely different gimmick, and I don't. I think they're in the same world, right? I don't know. I think for me, Okan has done more in his time debuting in ring than Evil had in that same time period. I think he's the star of the fucking show when it comes to the Empire, United Empire. Like, I feel like he's the guy. Look, truth be told, when he debuted at Rev Pro, I did not know what the fuck I was looking at. No clue what I was looking at. And I even went so far as to say, this guy, what are we doing here? What are they? There's no way they bring back this gimmick back to New Japan. I was like, there's just no fucking way. Boy, was I dead wrong. And I'm going to say something else, too. When I'm that hardcore, what is this shit? And then when I'm dead wrong, and then I come around, usually it's great. You know what I mean? Usually the end result equals greatness. And I'll give you one perfect example. Naito. Naito is a guy that when he started doing this Los Ingobernables bullshit, I was like, what the fuck is this? He doesn't care? Why would I care? Blah, blah, blah. You go back and listen to the shows. It's all there. Now look at him. A guy who loses every big match. Now look at him. Look, Okan is a fucking star. And if you're not on board, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. This product's not for you.
All right, let's talk about this Guerrillas of Destiny versus Chaos feud. So we had an IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match with Guerrillas of Destiny successfully defending against Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto 15 minutes 46 after a gun stun. And I thought that this tag title match was pretty good for what it was. Third on the card, 50 minutes. I thought they did about as much as they could here. But my excitement and enthusiasm for the division has a pretty hard ceiling when GOD are involved. I thought there's actually more to talk about with the singles matches. They were a bit more interesting. And with specifically Tangaloa against Yoshihashi, I thought the green shoots of something good in that match. I think Tangaloa has improved a ton since his last singles match in Japan, but I still have a suspicion that he is better as a tag wrestler, and that's where he's going to stay long term. But if they're going to push the boat out with him as a singles guy, or at least test the water a bit more, he needs more reps because having 3 singles matches in the last 4 years, how can you expect him to be improved as a singles wrestler at that rate? But I quite liked all the screaming he did, but maybe a bit too much for a singles match against Yoshihashi with nothing on the line. Like, he needs to save some of that for the big moments, keep something in his locker. So the match had this sort of strange dynamics where Tangaloa was getting his arm worked by the more experienced Yoshihashi, which it made sense, but we want to see Tangaloa beat the shit out of people because he's a big, strong dude. He's angry, he's aggressive. I want to see him do that, not selling his arm. So I think there's plenty to work on there. I don't have anything to say about Tama versus Goto, aside from the fact that I think both guys are also better as tag team wrestlers right now. We all know Goto can put on great singles matches, but I think he's got more value in the heavyweight tag and never tag division right now. And all of the Jado kendo stick spots with big eye roll within the context of all the other Bullet Club bullshit on night one. Damon, what were your thoughts on the two singles match? The tag?
Totally disappointed. Yep. Again, the interference was unnecessary. The only reason it felt like at the end of the day we had these 2 singles matches, as much as we wanted to speculate, as much as we wanted to hope, as much as we wanted an idea of guys putting on a show and showing the office what they can do, this was done because it was a fucking placeholder on a show to build up to the tag match the next night. You know what I mean? But not the next night, but the next show. That's all. That's at the end of the day. That's all those 2 matches were. Because, okay, yes, we got Yoshihashi in New Japan Cup, right? Where's Tangaloa? Where's Tamatanga? It makes no sense. Like, I don't know.
They might be back in the States because.
Okay, fine.
Well, I mean, I've got another question about that, but you go ahead first.
It just feels like what was the point was they needed placeholder matches in night 1 to help tell a story for the tag titles, and they do that. That's fine. But I think everybody was kind of looking forward to seeing a little bit more single stuff, and I don't think we're going to get that. And what they did do in the ring didn't give anyone any reason to really clamor for it anymore. That's what I think is the most disappointing part, is that the experiment wasn't really an experiment. It was really just basic booking 101 of singles. They're going to be in a tag match later. We're going to put them in a singles match, and we're going to throw in some uncreative booking to boot.
Says, what's your percentage chance that Tama Tonga and Tangaloa showing up on AEW Dynamite this month with the IWGP Tag Team Championship belts? They did call out the Good Brothers, Anderson Gallows, in their post-match promo, but they were cut out. They cut that bit out of the video when they put it up on YouTube in New Japan World later. So I don't know how much you would read into that, because obviously, I mean, there is a deal with Impact, so I don't know why they would have removed that. But where do you expect to see Guerrillas of Destiny popping up next?
If they're in the States, I would say Impact would be the easy choice. I don't think they show up at AEW.
Let's move on to night 1 then, and the main event of night 1, which was a special singles match. Kazuchika Okada defeating Evil in 28 minutes 11 seconds with the Rainmaker. Tap or nap? I've been clipped, Damon. I fell asleep twice during this match, and I'm not going back to rewatch it, and you can't make me. But from what I saw before passing out, it looked like money clip, sleepy Okada, but with a Rainmaker thrown in at the end. And I also, not only the match, but I got questions about Okada's promos, where it almost feels like he's shooting on the company and the booking, and that's not good. And again, I'm questions over Evil's booking, because he's basically lost most of, if not all of the credibility that he gained from winning the titles in the first place. He needs a strong New Japan cut run, but does he deserve one? I don't know, man. But based on this output, I don't really want to see either of them wrestling too many more singles matches in the next few weeks. And I was discussing this with Manabu, actually. I think there is a danger of New Japan missing the boat on some of these hot feuds. Like, everyone was excited for Evil versus Jay White a couple of months ago, but I don't care about it now. I don't want to see it, which, you know, that was one of the few options on the table for Evil that I think would help to heat him up. But both of these guys just feel ice cold right now.
Which is amazing to me, putting Okada in that sentence, you know, considering his resume. I don't know. When people point fingers at New Japan not being as hot as it once was, I think a lot of people point their fingers at him and what's going on with him and the challenges that they have of seeing a guy who was, you know, arguably a lot of people's favorite and a lot of people's slam dunk wrestler of the year consistently year after year, and a guy who was easily, you know, if you had an Okada main event, you know you were getting gold. Even if the rest of the card sucked, you knew that he was, you know, he was the saving grace of many shows, and it's just not there. And now we're going on over a year, and it's just a head scratcher. I don't know. Like, I don't mind guys experimenting with their character and trying something new and trying something fresh and you know, spicing it up a little bit. You can't be the same guy over and over again. But boy, oh boy, this is. Can we agree this is not working here? And Evil, I'm done with Evil. Like you said, the momentum that he lost since winning that title, he has zero. Evil has become instant fast forward material. Instant fast forward material. There is nothing that he is doing that is even remotely interesting. Nothing. And what
do you blame that on him, or do you blame that on the booking?
There's when I say him, it's the booking, right? It's the booking. Now, again, in ring, you're responsible by and large for making these matches great. I mean, I'm sure you have direction from the booking team, but you know, it's, you know, let's be honest here. It's a combination of both. I think it's more booking. I
guess it doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, if it's bad to watch, it's bad to watch. Whoever you're pointing the finger at, and
but he's one of those guys where it's like double dip. You know, you're double dipping. Honestly, is Okada a bad wrestler? No. Right? Is he being booked poorly? Yes. Is he trying to shove that fucking money clip down people's throats? Compare the money clip to ELP's boot, right? Something with total nonsense.
Compare it took ELP 2 months to get the loaded boot over.
Yeah.
To the point at which it's, I think, a far superior finisher to his dick punch and CR2 thing that he was doing before. Okada's been doing the money clip in massive, massive spots for, 6 months now? And it's still drawing a reaction like a fart in church, as you would say.
Yep. Hey, Great Okan with the claw. I'm not the biggest fan of a call in general, right? I think it's a little bit of a silly move. Okay, but that's just me. That's more over than the fucking money clip. The money clip has gotten over because people love to complain about the money clip. That's how it's over. And especially when, whatever. Like, look, I feel like Okada wrestles in slow motion. I feel like there's no juice in his game. There's no pep in his step. He's got to be sick and tired of working with fucking Evil.
That's it, because we saw at Wrestle Kingdom him putting in classic performance against Will Ospreay. So when he wants to, he can be that Okada. So it's really difficult to sympathise or empathise, have any sort of emotional connection with a character who looks, like someone who just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but yeah, that's what you're getting. That's what people are upset about and complaining about.
And let me say to all the AEW fans who are hoping that Okada comes over to do Dynamite, be careful what you wish for, my friends.
Yeah. What do we do with him, Joel?
Win the New Japan Cup.
You think he's winning?
I don't know. I can't rule it out. I mean, we'll come on to that later, but he did pick up a win here in the main event at Osaka-jo Hall. So, not for nothing, Damon, but we'll see when we come to our pick'ems. But maybe we should move on. Let's talk about the fifth match, if you're okay with that. Jay White defeating Tomohiro Ishii in 25 minutes 42 with Blade Runner. I thought this was one of their best matches together. I think they, two guys who've had really good matches together in the past, but I particularly like this one. I liked the rib work. I think these guys always work well together, like I said, because the rhythm that they wrestle at really complements one another, with Jay having the longer periods of methodical control and then Ishii being a good seller and then firing back with a little flurries of violence to punctuate Jay's dominance. They do, however, have a tendency to go for these elaborate closing stretches with the finishing reversal dances, and I think that is a slippery slope. It can very easily end up looking really choreographed and fake, and it was towing that line for sure here. I'm not against them at all, but the less often you do them and the shorter they are, the more effective they are. I mean, like the gold standard for this would be something like the closing of Omega Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 11, which I know is an extremely high bar, but we should always be aiming for the stars, Damon. So Jay finally gets the Ishii monkey off his back, but I'm curious as to where he goes from here, because he seems like the same Jay White as always, and I'm looking for some breadcrumbs here that we're going somewhere with him. I mean, I love heel Jay White, but for him to just shake off that Wrestle Kingdom 50 meltdown and go back to normal would be a waste, in my opinion. So again, I am looking for some sort of character development here. So, David, what do you think of Jay against Ishii?
I thought it was good. The idea that that was the the exclamation point on this, we'll call it feud. We're done and over with. Is okay by me, because I think that there's bigger fish for Jay White to be able to fry. The problem that I have is that there's been, I think everybody's, I don't know if everybody wants, but it feels like everybody's kind of in that Jay White subtle, slow build, Bullet Club, dissension, et cetera thing. And I just don't see that on the horizon. And maybe we're too far away from it, but I don't see that. So now it's like, okay, where does Jay White go? Because a month or two ago, he was like the fucking hottest guy in the company without even being there. So it's a little bit of a head scratcher, because I don't know, to me, and I don't know if you feel this way, I feel like that momentum is lost. That Jay White buzz is lost.
That's like what I was saying before. Like I was talking to Manabu about New Japan missing the boat on, not striking while the iron's hot. And I don't know if this is because they want to save stuff for when they can fully sell out again, but that's a really dangerous game to play. I wouldn't advise doing that.
Yeah. I mean, that's that's one COVID person spreading it to a restaurant away. That's yeah. I don't know how you can do that in this day and age. You got to go with. I mean, I'm not saying hot shot everything, but yeah. I mean, look, I understand that they want to have stuff in the bag to be able to go to when full crowds can return, and hopefully that day is sooner than later. But how long can you do that? I don't know. I just feel like Jay White. I don't know. There's a little momentum that's lost. It's not the same. And he just. I mean, again, they can have something in the bag for New Japan Cup, but it just feels like he's in New Japan Cup right now. There's really nothing going on in his life.
The fourth match on night one was the provisional KOPW 2021 Yano Toru style Texas strap match, with Yano defeating Chase Owens in 12 minutes 50 seconds and retaining his KOPW 2021. It surprisingly not worked as a comedy match. I don't think it was funny enough to be comedy or quite brutal enough to be a dramatic strap match. I mean, I thought the finish was quite cool, that it was the first Oni Koroshi that Yano has hit since 2017, so thumbs up for that, but I didn't care for it much myself. Bash says was a strap match the best KOPW match there has been so far. I mean, maybe, but it's not exactly a high bar to clear there.
Yeah. What would be second? That's my question. What would be number two? The schmaz at the outdoor stadium? No, that was sucked.
No, that wasn't good. Maybe the Zach match? I couldn't tell you anything about the Zach challenge, but just surely that was better than this. I mean, this wasn't bad, was it? It's just No, it was fine. It was
hard for me to fucking get excited over, and it still is. I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody really gave a shit. I hope that,
no.
I mean, what do you want me to say?
Well, okay, the last thing I want to talk about from these shows was the Empire versus Tenkoji matches, where Tenzan, he has dodged this stipulation of not being able to do Mongolian chops by doing Shin Mongolian chops. I was outraged by this statement, maybe more than I should have been, but what the fuck was the point of the Okan stipulation now that he's just blown it off? Because, this is the sort of stuff that we accuse other wrestling promotions of doing, where, nothing matters. And I thought that having you can't use the Mongolian chops anymore as a stipulation was really good. And now I'm thinking, well, it's meaningless now. You've thrown that in the bin.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know, was there any, press conference where he's been suspended, or there's been no follow-up whatsoever, correct?
Correct.
All right. Referee standing right in the ring, watching these chops occur, allows it to happen, pinfall, all that stuff. That happened, right, Rachel?
Yep.
Then why did we do this? What was the point? Are we just going to forget about it now? We're going to pretend it never happened? What do we...
That's the danger going forward, isn't it? Because next time they put a stipulation like this out, then I'm going to be side-eyeing it, thinking, should I really care about this? Seeing as the last time they did it, they just blew it off.
Right. Now, if they follow up on it and say, okay, Tenzan, you are suspended. You are blah, blah, blah. And then
he's in the New Japan Cup. He's got a big match with Will Ospreay coming up.
He sure does. The 7th of March. Opening that right side bracket in a hard-hitting contest. Do you get the joke? The guy always said hard-hitting contest. Yeah. It feels like they've completely ignored, and we're moving forward. I don't know. That's silly to me. What was the point? I mean, not that this was the most major of storylines, but it still is Tenzan, who, I mean, that is his move. I don't know. I don't know. Look, I guess they're going to Men in Black us and, put the gun to our head and make us forget. Maybe that's it. Who knows? I don't have an answer. Somebody call New Japan. You know what? While you're complaining about Marty Scurll, can we also write in and be like, and what the fuck is going on with these chops?
Justice for Okan.
Right. God damn it. All right. Are we done with these fucking Castle Attack shows?
Well, just two more questions. Wrestling with My Girl says, with regards to the Bullet Club stuff, that seems to be the main cause of ire. Doesn't all the overdone cheating undermine the wrestler's credibility? The audience is told Evil, GODJ can't do anything on their own, and Real Heat, if any, goes to New Japan. Yes, is my answer to that question. Yes. Too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, too much. Again, you want to establish heels. I understand that. You want to have some outside interference to get the fans pissed off to see them get their asses beat maybe later on down the road. Sure, fine. But every fucking night, like, it's just like, okay, we get it. All right.
And Sentient Amanita says, when was the last time that a New Japan show was as consistently good for as long as the back half of Castle Attack Night 2? Is it the last time that there was a stretch of 3 matches where 2 were Khan, Tanahashi and Naito Ibushi? Because both of those might have been better. Again, I think New Beginning in Nagoya and both nights of Wrestle Kingdom, I thought top to bottom were outstanding, like really tremendous entertainment. So I think if we just look at those 4 shows, then we'd say New Japan's back to its best. But unfortunately there's a lot of other crap we have to wade through. But okay, let's move on to the title unification, because I know the lineages of the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental titles have been merged and will now become the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. El Desperado and Kota Ibushi will meet in the last defense of the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships tomorrow. The winner will become the first ever IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. There will be a new belt presented to the champion. A lot of questions for this, Damon. Booze Leprechaun says, new year, new belt. Do we think New Japan will come right out the gate with a definitive run for the new IWGP World Heavyweight title to establish a baseline for others to chase? Daniel says, I'm fine with getting rid of the white belt, but why get rid of probably the coolest looking belt in the history of pro wrestling? I'm very sad about this. James says, now Damon's got his wish and the titles are unified. How does he feel? The video announcing this, Damon, has been the dislike ratio for the Japanese YouTube channel is overwhelming. There's like, I don't know, last I checked, about 300 likes and almost 3,000 dislikes. So it seems that the Japanese fans hate this. Classic Catch says, how does the backlash to news about the Intercontinental and Heavyweight belts compare to the backlash that led to the fan poll for Wrestle Kingdom 8? Could this backlash lead to them changing their minds? So, Damon, your big picture thoughts on this title unification?
All right. So first and foremost, it's not like this hasn't happened before. And I'll give you the All Japan Pro Wrestling Triple Crown Championship. And in the height of All Japan Pro Wrestling, this company decided to merge 3 titles. One of which would be the equivalent of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. The other ones were like an NWA affiliated title and 3 belts. And there were some big fucking names holding these titles. Again, Stan Hansen, Harley Race, Jumbo Tsuruta, Tenryu. List goes on and on. Of big names holding these titles. And then they decided to merge. And it worked pretty fucking good for them. Right? But there was a purpose to that. These were associations and belts that were associated with maybe an olden time. And the idea of merging them into a singular championship, and not really a merge. Everybody carried the 3 titles, right? They were still there, and it was almost that they were kind of recognized that they were part of the Triple Crown. Very similar to what we have with the Intercontinental and the Heavyweight title, but yet the Triple Crown was formed. This feels different to me. This feels, what's the purpose of it? What's the benefit of doing this? What is why? Because a wrestler in a promo said that's what he wants to do, so the company's like, okay, let's do it? Makes no sense. We knew we were going to get bullshit and nonsense when we were talking about these double gold and a single champion holding both belts. We knew that there was going to be some convoluted nonsense to get us to split these belts up or get the end of the story to wrap up. No one in their wildest dreams thought that okay, not only the Intercontinental title, but the IWGP Heavyweight Championship would now be off the table. It seems ludicrous to me. It seems, why? It makes no sense to me. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joel, the histories of these belts end with this title defense, correct?
Well, they just said the lineages will be merged, so I don't know what that means. I mean, I've seen suggestions like maybe before the title match you could have on both screens, like one screen showing the IWGP lineage and then one screen showing the Intercontinental lineage. I don't know. Like, we'd have to wait and see how that pans out. But the word they used was merged.
Okay, but they're different titles and they're different people, and for the most part, it's the one belt signified a stepping stone to the heavyweight title. You can't merge these things, It's not. It's like, I don't know. I was going to give you a terrible analogy. It's like saying the history of computers, and you're merging a Windows desktop and a Mac desktop. It's not the same thing. I don't like it, man. I think it's silly. I think it's uncalled for. I think it's head scratchy. There's no reason to do it. Like, it's just a thing that they're doing that just, why? Why would you do this? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I think it's a mistake. I think it seems like pretty much across the board people are against this idea. If they do scrap the lineage of the IWGP Heavyweight title, then that's a huge misstep for me, because I think that history is one of the reasons that made it so prestigious, and also the look of the belt is iconic. So I don't know if they will roll this back, seeing the fan backlash to it, but we'll have to wait and see. But from what I've heard so far, I don't know. Sell more merchandise, get people to buy a new title, to maybe freshen things up. Maybe they want to get rid of some of those names on the old titles lineage, streamlining things. Maybe they want to have new narratives going forward with some reason for guys like Okada or Tanahashi or Naito to chase that they've never held this newly merged title before. I don't know. None of them make particularly compelling reasons to me.
Like, this is a company that will create belts and drop them quickly. I mean, what was that? That U30 belt. I mean, that's not strange for this company. So let's be clear on that. Two, merging of titles, that has happened before, and major titles have been merged together even in other promotions. It's just the timing of this. Like, it just seems like a real, like, when, I don't know. I just don't see what positive could come from this. Especially the I don't know. Boy, it just feels. Know what this feels like? This feels like a corporate boardroom decision. This feels like a bunch of fucking suits from Bushi Road in a conference room saying, "I got a great idea. Why don't we do this?" And everybody.
I know, it feels like they've got a consultancy firm in. And right. Consultancy firm who've got no knowledge or appreciation of pro wrestling and been like, right, you need to rebrand this and have a new title and new marketing, blah, 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 blah.
Right. Doesn't it feel like that? Because it's just, that's the only answer I can give is somebody who knows nothing about this made this decision. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like somebody who has no concept of why people enjoy this product made a decision about this product. That's the only answer I can give, and I can be dead wrong about that. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, maybe El Desperado can save us. We've got the anniversary coming up tomorrow, Thursday, March 4th. So by the time you listen to this, it may have already happened. But our card is Master Wato, Gabriel Kidd, Tomoaki Honma, Hiroki Goto versus Doki, Zack Sabre Jr., Suzuki and Taichi. Second match, we've got Taguchi, Hinari, Finlay, Juice, Tanahashi against Ishimori, White, Chase Owens, Kenta and Evil. Third match, we've got Sho, Ishii and Okada versus Bushi, Sanada and Shingo. Fourth match, New Japan Cup, first round, Satoshi Kojima versus Jeff Cobb. Fifth match, New Japan Cup first round, Tetsuya Naito versus Great-O-Khan, and the main event, IWGP Heavyweight and IWGP Intercontinental Double Championship match with Ibushi defending both his titles against the challenger El Desperado. So, thinking of this main event, Damon, Renegade Dugong said, should the merged IC and heavyweight title belt strap be made of the same material and pattern as El Desperado's mask? Louis says, too excited for Ibushi versus Despi, though I don't expect Despi to win. That said, if he does win, what are the scenarios possible for him after? Okada says he's going after the belts again. Suzuki paranoid as top dog as Suzuki goes after him. Shingo, Nagata as a defense, Taichi. So, Damon, your thoughts on this main event, Ibushi versus Despi. Despi main event in the Budokan Hall again. Is this creatively bankrupt or no?
No, Mr. Meltzer, it's not. No, I mean, it's actually refreshing and fun and exciting. And yeah, I think, given the...
And calls back to their history, their little feud they had in 2014.
Yeah. I mean, and given the cards that New Japan had been dealt with the injury to Hiromu, I think they've made the most out of a fucking unfortunate situation for sure. No, I think I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be fucking awesome, actually. So no, I'm all in on this main event. I don't think Despy wins, but that being said, name me a junior who's ever won these matches. But I think it's going to be a fantastic match. Wonderful.
Agreed. I'm very much looking forward to it. Again, I don't think Despy wins, but I think these are two of the best wrestlers in the company right now, two of the consistently highest performers in recent months. So there's no way the match isn't going to be great. And another huge feather in Despy's cap, being able to main event Budokan Hall again. And this is exactly the sort of rub he needs to get if he is going to be elevated and established as a top guy in the company, which, as we've talked about, he thoroughly deserves. So that's the anniversary show. Let's move on to the New Japan Cup then. So Count Out Pod says, are you sure you should review the New Japan Cup? It seems like a bad omen. But yeah, we're going to throw caution to the wind and go ahead and do it anyway. We have wonderful Chris Sampson has set up a pick'ems competition for us, which you can find at his website, sportofprowrestling.com/SuperJcast. That's sportofprowrestling.com/SuperJcast. And you can submit your picks. Damon has kindly donated some prizes. We've got, you tell us what the prizes are, Damon.
Yeah, there might be more, but I have a whole book of like autographed 8x10s that just sit there. Not to devalue it, but I figure why not? We'll do an Okada 8x10 autograph. I also have a New Japan Pro Wrestling official T-shirt. It is a medium evil T-shirt. So hopefully you're fit and can squeeze into that. If not, give it to someone you love. And then again, I'll probably have some other things I'll throw in there, some mystery surprise stuff. So we'll make the prize pack worth your time. Sure.
And let's do our pick'ems then. I mean, I'll just let you know, Dave, before we do our pick'ems, that the holiday Christopher Mace has picked Jay White to win the whole thing. So let's see, are we going to follow his predictions as well? Let's do our brackets then. You got your brackets with you?
I got it. All
right, so Evil is getting a bye into the second round because he is the holder of the New Japan Cup. He won it last year. So first match then for us to talk about is Satoshi Kojima versus Jeff Cobb. So playing into the feud that the Empire have had with Tenkoji. I think this would be really good. I think Kojima can still go as a singles wrestler, and Jeff Cobb is one of the most improved wrestlers in the company. So I'm expecting this to be a really good match, and I'm picking Jeff Cobb as my winner.
Yeah, I think Cobb gets the win. I mean, given the Empire's lack of success in recent days against Kojima and Tenzan. So, yeah, I think this is a no-brainer. We don't want Kojima to go too deep into this. He's an old man. One round is enough. So Jeff Cobb will go on, and he will meet Evil.
Then we have Tetsuya Naito versus Great-O-Khan. So a real bracket buster here to start us off. As much as I love Naito, I'm picking Great-O-Khan here. I think he needs this win because he lost his singles matches to Okada. He's lost twice to Tanahashi. I think he needs this win. This is going to be a statement win where people are going to have to sit up and take notice that Great-O-Khan is here to stay and he's going to be a player. So my winner here is the Great-O-Khan.
The only thing that has me worried about this, well, first of all, I hate these fucking first round two guys that I want to see move on one of them has to be eliminated. I hate that. I really do. But, okay, makes the first round much more interesting for sure. I always kind of look in advance, right? So Naito, the way the brackets form out, it would be in the same pocket, in the same quarter, we'll call it, as Evil, right? And I think Evil has a very good shot of going pretty deep, which would set up Naito, Evil eventually down the line in that quarter pocket of the bracket. And I think that might be do we do another Naito Evil match in New Japan Cup, or do we go for fresh matchup and Okan Evil if we're assuming they meet? I think Okan needs to win. I'd like to see Okan get the win. I think Naito, there's no real super benefit of him. I think they both need to win, to be honest with you. Like, doesn't Naito need a win here too? Doesn't it feel like he could use a win?
I think he could use a rest, which is why I think he goes out.
Yeah, you're probably right on that too. I'll go Okan too. I'll say Okan gets the upset.
Okay, then we have Toriano against Bad Luck Fale, which I'm sure will be a riveting match. This is a tricky one. I'm going to pick Yano to go through.
Yeah, this is a total fucking coin flip. I'll go Fale just to play the devil's advocate.
Okay, then we have Goto against Taichi, the original cartwheel death match.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm expecting this one to be better than their first few matches together. I think this would be really good. Hard hitting, for sure. Both guys really need a win here, but I'm going to go with my heart here and pick Taichi.
I'll tell you what, I sent you that fucking show. That March 5th. That's at Corkin. Oh, what a terrible show. That's a terrible fucking show at Corkin. All those multi-man tags, just, oh, God almighty. And these two were the main event. You're going Goto?
No, I'm picking Taichi.
Oh, Taichi. I am too.
Then we have another huge match in the first round. We've got Kazuchika Okada against Shingo Takagi, which was a tremendous match in the G1 Climax. So hopefully they deliver more of the same here. I think this is the kind of stylistic match which is better for Okada with a guy like Shingo with high pace, high intensity, high aggression, who's going to push Okada and not let him sleepwalk his way through a match. And I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go for Shingo.
Shingo wins, he would face the winner of Goto and Taichi, which had me thinking, all right, I think Shingo goes deep. So I'm taking Shingo over Okada. But then it's like, okay, so who do I want? Not who do I want, but who do I think second round? And that's where I was a little bit hesitant on Goto and Taichi. Because I think Shingo and Goto might be a New Japan type match. I'm going Shingo to win, though, here on the 6th against Okada, though.
Then we got Tomoaki Honma against Minoru Suzuki, which I like that one on paper, actually. I think, Honma gets a lot of shit, but his singles matches are always compelling, even if they're not the fastest and most athletically dynamic matches. I think this one will be good. They're going to hit each other really hard. Well, Suzuki's going to hit Honma hard at least. And I'm picking Suzuki.
I'm picking Suzuki only because the next bracket on the 13th has a possibility of something that I would really want to see. Honma and Suzuki winner faces the winner of Juice and Kenta. So I'm picking Suzuki here. And then I'll follow up to end the bracket, Joel. Juice versus Kenta. And I'm taking Kenta, which would give us on the 13th, Suzuki versus Kenta. I'm kind of into that.
Yeah, there's a lot of really potentially sexy matches with Kenta having a run on this side of the bracket. But, yeah, both guys need the win here. I'm going with Juice. I think Juice wins. Because I think Kenta versus Suzuki is something you want to save for maybe a bigger spot. I don't know. We're going to be wrong about most of these anyway. So yeah, Juice is my pick. I'm going with Juice. Okay, let's go to the right side of the bracket then. We got Hiroshi Tenzan against Will Ospreay. Tenzan, who's faced no repercussions from his flagrant breach of his contract, but Tenzan gets Ospreay, and there's no way Tenzan's winning this, so an easy Ospreay win. And I think it'll be a good match as well. Again, I know Tenzan is maybe on his last legs here, but he had a tremendous match in last year's New Japan Cup against Yoshihashi, and if Ospreay can put his ridiculous Shawn Michaels-esque overselling to one side, I think this one could be pretty good. But Ospreay wins.
Ospreay wins. I don't think there's any chance Tenzan wins. How about that?
Then we got Gabriel Kidd against Zack Sabre Jr. I'm really glad they booked this as a singles match because seeing them in their tag encounters together was very, very good. They got good chemistry. I think they've wrestled each other in singles matches before. But Gabriel Kidd's a young lion, so he's not going to win this. So Zack Sabre Jr. goes through.
Yeah, Zach goes through. But I am totally looking forward to that match. I'm looking just at dates. The March 6th show looks really good. That has the Okada Shingo, the Honma Suzuki, and the Kenta Juice all on the same show on the 6th. That's a sexy show. And then the 7th has Tenzan, Ospreay, Kid, Zach, which I think would be pretty good too. All right, so that's not bad. I'm taking Zach. So we'll see Will Zach. All right, nice.
There we got Yuji Nagata against Yota Tsuji. Of course, Nagata's going to win this because Tsuji's a young lion. I'll be very surprised if Tsuji wins. I like the pair up. I think I always like to see the young lion going against the senpai kohai thing going on. I think Yota Tsuji will acquit himself well, but I'm picking Nagata to go through.
Me too, and that will confirm my small wager last week of Nagata getting to the second round. He'll get to the second round. This, again, is on March 9th, and then also on that same is Ishii and Sanada, where I'll take... who am I taking there? Probably Sanada, right? Fuck.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's a coin toss for me as well, but I'm leaning towards Sanada, who... Again, I'm just looking at who needs wins more. Sanada is a guy who is more of a future ahead of him than Ishii, so whilst I prefer Ishii as a wrestler, I think Sanada gets the win.
Correct. Right. So that would mean we would get Nagata, Sanada later down the road. All right.
Potato. Let's call the whole thing off. Okay, Finlay against Chase Owens. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I'm going to go with Finlay because I think Chase Owens has had more than enough big singles matches in New Japan to last him a while. So I want to see more of Finlay. I think he could do a bit of rehabbing because we haven't seen him on the screens for much.
I would agree, but so I think it's going to be Chase because if you look at the bracket on the 10th, you got Chase versus David Finlay, and then also on the 10th you have Yoshihashi against Yujiro Takahashi, and I don't think they would do. I think Yoshihashi wins that one, right? So if Yoshihashi's winning that one, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bullet Club member. One of the two Bullet Club members are moving on. And if I'm saying Yoshihashi beats Yujiro, that eliminates one. Chase goes on. So we'll have Yoshihashi Chase later on down the road.
Yeah, I like your logic, but I'm picking David Finlay anyway. And yeah, Yoshihashi against Yujiro, I'm picking Yoshihashi to win that as well. Toa Henare versus Jay White, an all New Zealand encounter here. Yeah. This, hopefully Toa Henare making up for lost time here. He lost out on his big Korakuen main event against Ishii last year. Now he's got a big match against Jay White, and I think he will acquit himself well, maybe come really close, but Jay White will win. Or will he? I don't know. Wouldn't it be great if Henare gets the upset? But I don't think he will. I'm picking Jay White, but...
My head says fucking Jay, but man, do I want Henare to fucking win. Because then you get Henare and Tanahashi, where there's the friendly the friendliness between Henare and Tanahashi. Although the marquee matchup would be White Tanahashi, and then White eliminates Tanahashi, and then now we have a never program. Just saying, right?
Yeah, if he's interested in the Never title, I don't know. I think that Jay White might be above that, but we'll see. I definitely, that's something I've got booked in as well. So I've got, obviously Hiroshi Tanahashi's getting a bye as the only other heavyweight singles title holder. He's the Never champion, so he's going through. So yeah, I would have Jay and Tanahashi in the next round. But you picking Jay over Hinari?
Yeah, I want Hinari to win, but yeah, I think Jay. And again, Jay against Tanahashi in the next round. Tanahashi, you're never champion. I don't know. It kind of makes a little sense. And we just talked about Jay White not really having anything to do. He would instantly have something to do.
All right, let's go into our second round then in the brackets. And I have Evil versus Jeff Cobb. I'd love Jeff Cobb to win this, but I have Evil as the winner. He is going to pull some dastardly shenanigans with the help of Dick Togo. Hopefully it will be a good match with two big boys. I hope they have the sort of hostile match that I think they should. I wouldn't bet money on it, but who knows? But my pick would be Evil to go through to the quarterfinals.
Evil's moving on. And again, just looking at brackets, that would eliminate one of the United Empire. But we would still have Great Okan left in the mix if we continued on. So that would give us an Evil Okan. So yeah, I'll say Evil moves on, and then Okan versus either Fale or Yano. I said Fale, so I'll say Okan beats that, and then we wind up having Evil and Okan.
Yeah, I have Okan against Yano and Okan winning, but I do prefer the idea of Okan beating Fale. But I've got Okan beating Yano. But anyway, so we've got Great Okan going through to the quarterfinals, and then Taichi against Shingo, which is a match we've seen twice before in the G1 Climax. I thought both of them have been excellent, and I have Shingo winning this one.
Correct. I have the same as well.
Then
no analysis.
We got Minoru. Well, these are hypothetical matches. There's no point previewing a stylistic match that isn't definitely going to happen. So Minoru Suzuki against Juice Robinson I have in my bracket, and I am having Juice Robinson win this one. I think he needs a bit of shine, getting back on the wins.
All right. Well, I got Suzuki Kenta, and I'm going Kenta.
Then moving to the other side, I have, I think we both had Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. Very sexy match. Two outstanding matches they had last year. One in RevPro, one in New Japan. And I have Will Ospreay winning this one.
Yes, same here. Should be great. And yeah, we'll move on.
Then I have Yuji Nagata against Sanada, and I have Sanada winning that one.
Samesies for me.
I have David Finlay against Yoshihashi, and Yoshihashi is my winner.
Okay. I have Chase Yoshihashi, and I as well have Yoshihashi as my winner.
Yeah, he always seems to do quite well in the New Japan Cup, Yoshihashi. Then I've got Jay White versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Jay White as my winner.
Correct. I have the same as well. So we're very similar so far. So making it to the semis, I guess it is. It's, what do we got? Okan. Oh, no. We got Evil, Okan, Shingo, and Kenta for me in that side. I have Ospreay, Sanada, Yoshihashi, Jay White.
So my first quarterfinal, Evil against Okan. Maybe a bit of a strange heel versus heel match here, which makes me doubt that it's going to happen. But I have Evil going through to the semis.
Yeah, me too, unfortunately. I have that as well.
Then I've got Shingo Takagi against Juice Robinson, and I have Shingo winning.
I have Shingo Kenta, and I have Shingo winning.
Then in my third quarterfinal, I have Will Ospreay versus Sanada, and Will Ospreay as the winner.
I have that as well.
And Yoshihashi against Jay White. Jay White winning.
That is correct as well. All right. So that means for the semis, it's Evil versus Shingo, right? We both have the same, right? We both have Evil versus Shingo,
Yes.
and Will versus Jay White, right?
Correct.
All right.
Evil versus
got?
Shingo. I'll go Shingo.
Me too. And then Will versus Jay.
Going Will.
Me too. So our finals, main event, 21st, Shingo, Will Ospreay. How we feeling?
Watch Shingo get eliminated by Okada in the first round. He's gonna,
Right.
He's going to sleep. He's going to nap. He's going to get clipped.
Clipped.
This is all going to be in the bin by the weekend. See, what I'm thinking is Will Ospreay wins. You know, I've had him pegged in to win the New Japan Cup because I think it will be a great way to establish him as a serious heavyweight title challenger. And then maybe you could have Shingo challenging next at Don Taku, because I do want to see a challenge from Shingo as well, because there's a nice little story with Ibushi going through the various members of LIJ. I don't know if they're going to keep going with that. So I'm picking Will Ospreay to beat Shingo, but it's close. I could see an argument for having Shingo win it as well, but Ospreay's my pick.
Ospreay's the guy. He is my pick, and to me, he's a guy that kind of we need to put a little bit of a fire underneath him. So that's a perfect way to do that. Give him a nice little heavyweight win. I know Never Titles was in the mix somewhere in his lifetime, but again, this would be a nice little stamp to make him a top guy in the heavyweight division. Yeah, I think that would be a smart move. Again, this will all be for naught after today because half of our fucking brackets will be busted. But a fun little exercise nonetheless. But I still think Will, at the end of the day, is your guy.
Yeah, so don't forget to get your picks in at sportprowrestling.com/SuperJcast. I think that's right anyway. I've deleted it in my notes now. But some questions then. I have a question from my friend, fellow Smartcast member, Sipsy. I want to wish him congratulations, him and Sanya, on their engagement. Sorry, I almost certainly won't be able to be there for the wedding. I wish I were, but all the best to you guys. I love you both. Sipsy says, Aussie Open got mentioned on English commentary at Castle Attack. Any chance they are due to return to New Japan?
We haven't heard no word of them being brought back.
Maybe something for World Tag League.
Yeah. But I not only have and this is not saying that they're not, but their names have never been brought up in any conversation. So that could heat up very easily, but no, we have not heard anything.
Cal Razen says, do you think with Hiromu's injury that New Japan should make getting Lio Rush over to Japan a priority? They can push him as a big deal by acknowledging his current success in MLW and Triple A. Is Lio Rush a wrestler that could check a lot of boxes by being a potential instant star for the junior division in Japan, given their current roster some more diversity, and being a big money match when Hiromu eventually returns? Junior division built around Lio Rush, Despy and El Phantasmo sounds quite interesting to me. He and his wife just had a baby. I don't know what their plans are, but perhaps relocating the family to Japan could be a positive for them. So, yeah, I mean, we touched on Lio Rush before. If I were in charge of New Japan, I would be definitely doing my absolute best to persuade Lio Rush to make the move over to Japan. I mean, maybe not permanently at first, but definitely let's get him over for a few tournaments, get him over for Best of the Super Juniors and see how we go.
They would be absolutely dumb to not bring him over for Best of the Super Juniors at the very least. That would just be a mind-bogglingly dumb move. It really depends on his life, right? If New Japan were to commit 2 years to the gentleman, I would have no problem whatsoever with that. Yeah, I mean it's a smart move for everybody, and if it can work logistically.
Flynn says, any thoughts why New Japan and CMLL made that statement? Can we also read anything into the fact that ROH were not involved, as it was always a three-way partnership? I see that CMLL mention more as a kind of, hey, I know we missed Fantastic Mania, but we're still friends. Don't worry about us.
Yeah. They renewed their vows. Is what they did. On a Zoom call.
Yes, absolutely. I hope they are able to get some talent over. That makes me think of Ryu Lee as well. I hope they can get him over as well. I know he's not necessarily affiliated with them so much these days. Twitter, Matt says, with the belts merged, this definitely has the door open for the junior belt to main event one night at the Dome. Do you think Despy versus Hiromu would be the match? So, Damon, if we are doing 2 Tokyo Dome shows again, do you think Hiromu versus Despy could main event night 1?
Yeah, as long as it's like Hiromu's first match back. Yes, it could happen. We could also have Wrestle Kingdom on Mars eventually. But I don't think it's a crazy, preposterous idea. The fact that it's never been done before is the only thing that's really holding it back. Because if they wanted to, they could build that up to be important enough to headline the Dome. And those two guys have a built-in storyline that already is tailor-made to do so. They would just need to put in the legwork. And New Japan has proven in the past that they can do that. It's a matter of if they want to. But could it? Yes.
Sean says, thoughts on God, El Phantasmo, Ishimori and Hikuleo showing up on Impact, AEW and Strong? And could you see the NWA tag titles being defended on Strong since JR Kratos is one of the title holders?
I mean, the idea of Strong being a place where people can get work and the idea of Impact being a place where people that are affiliated with New Japan and living in the United States can get work is a good thing. Yes, we've seen it happen already. So, yeah, the possibilities are there for all those guys. Now, whether they have the availability, whether they want to, whether the office is saying, okay, you're booked here, go, and contractually they have to go. Yes, all those things are on the table. So, yeah, we could see any of those mid-card tag team in the mix, those type of guys, if they're available, and, a guy like Juice and Finley who live in the States or, have ties to the United States where it's not as difficult, yeah, there's no reason why it couldn't happen. Let's put it that way at this point.
Ash says, 2 bangers of anniversary main event matches being lost due to COVID/injury. Naito versus Hiromu in 2020, Ibushi versus Hiromu 2021. Do we get to see at least one of them when Hiromu's back? So what are the chances you think of us seeing Hiromu versus Naito or Hiromu versus Ibushi? I feel like Hiromu versus Naito is an inevitability. I don't know when or where or what stage, but I'm sure that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I think that to me that's closer to main eventing a Dome than even Hiromu chasing the junior title. But yeah, I think eventually you're going to see Hiromu and Naito sharing the same ring. Absolutely.
Samuel says, now Tsuji once again showed his allegiance to Tanahashi. How can Tanahashi deny Tsuji's third-year request to be his tag partner in World Tag League? I mean, we're a long way away from World Tag League. I would like to see Yota Tsuji be out on excursion at some point. I don't know if that will be possible, but I mean, him and Tanahashi tagging together in World Tag League, maybe Tsuji would have to fight Toa Henare for the right to tag with Tanahashi.
Right. Yeah. Tanahashi always loves bringing those, let's just say, not quite at his star caliber tag team partners to take those falls. He's a good guy. I wouldn't be surprised if you see it. Won't be surprised.
Louis says, now that New Japan has hit the reset button with the heavyweight title, who do both of you think was the greatest IWGP heavyweight champion in its history?
Well, I mean, if we're looking at gates and money and when business was booming, you got to put Muto near the top of that list, right? I mean, his match with Takada at the Dome at the time was, a record setter. So I think that's an important one. I think Shinya Hashimoto is in that same boat as well. I mean, Inoki is like a nice little figurehead in a sense of, he was the face of the promotion for the longest time, self-imposed face of the promotion for the longest time. So, I mean, do you consider that important? Modern times, Okada's got to be on that list, having the longest reign, being the champion and the top guy, for the promotion, having the most profitability that it's ever had. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're safe by putting in those 3 or 4 guys.
My pick would be Tanahashi. I love Tanahashi, and I think he was an outstanding champion. A very difficult time for the company. So there we go. Ben says the unification is extremely saddening to me. What are some of your favourite Intercontinental title matches?
I think everybody kind of points to Nakamura and Ibushi. Right? I think that's got to be on the list. Top of the rung. Naito's had some great ones too.
Naito Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 11. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah. Yep. Those have to be damn near top of the list. I'll tell you what. Wasn't there a Naito Elgin Intercontinental title match that was pretty great? Was that for the Intercontinental
Yes,
title?
that's right. That was. I think that was New Beginning 2017. Could be wrong, but yeah, that one was outstanding.
Yeah. So there's been a few. There's been a few that have been really great. So was AJ Nakamura for the Intercontinental?
Yes, I think it was.
That pretty good too. So yeah, there's been quite a few.
Rob says, looking at the field of the New Japan Cup and with the Intercontinental title gone, do some of the mid-card / upper mid-card need to move on / loaned out to freshen things up? Much like the Suzuki Gun Noah scenario a few years ago, some absence could make the heart grow fonder. I was thinking, actually, talking about all these wrestlers who look pretty cold and got nothing to do, that their roster seems a bit bloated at the moment. I don't know if this is just poor booking or they've just got too many people on their hands, but do you think, what do you think about the idea of some of these guys being shipped off elsewhere?
Like where? TNA? Or Impact? I mean, you know what I mean? Like where are we shipping? Like, it's not like we have this feeder system. We're going to send them strong. You're going to send them to, I mean, I don't know. I don't. To me, I don't. My major issue is not the staleness of the people; it's the staleness of the booking and the fact that it's just, some of it is just not sticking, and the inconsistency, and the fact that you again all the things we talked about at the top of the show. So, I mean, again, where are you moving them? And you're not going to have a talent swap. Let's put it that way. You're not going to have a fucking draft where, guys are standing at a fucking podium and we're cherry picking people from AEW and vice versa. That's not going to happen.
Jamie says, should New Japan have looked into booking more Japanese freelancers while the foreign wrestlers are missing, or are the shows too short to fit in a roster bigger than what they have now? Yeah, absolutely not. I think their roster is big enough, if not too big.
And here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Again, it's not like those promotions are selling out buildings, and I get the fact that giving those guys work on bigger shows it would help them. I don't know where you would put them on a New Japan show that would be beneficial for everybody. There's just not enough room.
Bill says, always forget to watch Strong, and when I remember to, I kick myself because it's a great show. Their ad breaks are even funny. But why is Alex Kozlov working with Kevin? Can't they get anyone else? Did Gedo make some solemn promise to Kozlov's dad? Does he have dirt on someone? They do seem to have persisted with Kozlov longer than they have done with other less high-quality announcers.
Yeah. I think that's a Rocky situation, right? I mean, I don't have it confirmed, but that's my assumption is that, Rocky pulled that string.
Yes, I agree. So I just go my finger. I'm trying my volume slider. I'm trying to slide up from this. I don't have an unmute button, so each time I have to unmute myself, I have to click the microphone slider on Audacity and slide it up. And sometimes my fingers are not very good. I'm really tired.
Oh,
Let's do one more question.
That's what Mally says.
Hey,
Come on.
Matt says, what would you put as the odds for Okada signing with a US promotion in the next 5 years? Seems like he might be looking to take his career to the next level soon, and he already worked with a proto AEW by doing All In.
By taking your career to the next level, you mean being incredibly boring, right? Because he's tailor-made for one U.S. company, that's for fucking sure. 5 years? 5 years is a long time in pro wrestling speak, Joel. 5 years is a long time. I'll say, like signing full-time?
Yes. I can't see it. I think he's going to be a New Japan lifer.
Yeah. I'm like 10, 20% at most. 5 years is a long time. A lot of things can happen in 5 years. At max, I'll go 20%.
All right, well, that's it for today. So, again, if you want to get your pick'ems in for New Japan Cup, make sure you do it before the anniversary show starts. That's sportofprowrestling.com/SuperJcast. So thanks again to Chris Sampson for setting that up. redcircle.com/shows/super-j-cast if you want to donate some money to show your appreciation for us. Thank you very much for the people who have given us money. We have received it. We don't know who sent it. We don't get told that information. We just get given the money. But thank you very much. I mean, if you want to let us know if you've sent us money, I'll happily give you a shout out on the podcast. So we appreciate you. Discord link is in the show notes. Cobra Kawaii and ProWrestlingTees.com/SuperJcast if you want to buy one of our t-shirts. Thanks as always to editor Dan, who is on Twitter at LousyHero219. You can subscribe to the Voices of Wrestling podcast network for other great shows. Please give us a 5-snake review on iTunes. And
what you doing? Designing my new 2021 Nissan Kicks Online in the Kicks Color Studio. I give each a special name. This one's electric blue, orange, red, white. I call it the Gumball Machine. You think it's me?
I feel like you're more of a red velvet guy.
Limitless possibilities. With over 100 million available color combinations and Bose Personal Plus system in the boldly new 2021 Nissan Kicks. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation. Color combinations include interior and exterior colors. Customization is an available feature subject to availability at participating Nissan dealers. See dealer for details.
Follow us on Twitter at the SuperJcast. Thank you everyone for listening and goodbye.